Today we're going to make a paper lantern. I'm going to need 2 pieces of construction paper, 1 piece of tissue paper, a glue bottle, scissors to start. I'm going to start by taking my 2 pieces of construction paper. I'm going to have them landscape style, fold them in half from left to right like a book. Now I'm going to fold both papers so the left edge goes into the center crease and so the right edge goes into the center crease. Now I'm going to separate them because it's too hard to cut through all these layers of folded paper at the same time. I'm going to fold this and I am going to cut chunks out of the sides. To be honest, I do not really plan this all that much. I cut somewhat random shapes. What's most important is that as I cut, I leave some of the crease intact because that's going to be sort of the bridge from one side of this to the other. That's what holds the different parts of my paper lantern together. So I can cut any old random shapes I want, but I need to make sure I leave some pieces of that crease in place. And I'm going to cut chunks out of this side as well. And as you can see, I've got some little bits of those original sides on the left and right side still intact. So when I unfold this, it all holds together, and I've got a nice symmetrical design. I'm going to set that aside for right now, and I'm going to cut my second paper the same way. Not the exact same design, but using the same idea of cutting chunks out of the sides. Again, when I unfold this, I have a nice symmetrical design. I am going to take my purple paper and I am going to put a line of glue all around. And I'm going to stick my tissue paper onto there. Now I'm going to put glue onto my black paper. And what I want to do is put the edge of my purple and red into the center crease of the black paper. I'm going to fold this over, and I fold the black over the top of that. That way the black covers up that seam, and this can stand up nicely. I'm going to take a strip of paper and make a little handle for my paper lantern. So I just put a little dot of glue at each end, and I'm going to put that inside my paper lantern, and I'm going to set that aside to let it dry. Okay, I'm going to use paper circuits to wire my paper lantern and make it light up. I'm going to need a copper tape, a battery, some LED lights, and a piece of paper to put it all on. I'm going to fold this paper at one end, and I'm going to make one line. This will be my plus line, and one line to be my negative line. The battery has a plus sign on one side. That's going to have to touch the plus line. The other side is going to go to the negative line. What I'm going to do is peel up the end of my copper tape and stick it on where I just drew those lines. I find it's easier if I just peel and stick as I go, instead of peeling off the entire piece of copper tape and then trying to stick it down, because if I peel off the entire piece of copper tape, it has a tendency to curl up and get stuck to itself. Then I just rip it when I get to the end. I'm going to, again, peel up just the end of it, stick it down, and then peel off that white backing and stick it down as I go. Now, I'm going to make sure I label that nice and clearly, so my plus and minus lines. The LED lights have one longer and one shorter prong. The longer prong has to go to the positive line, the line with the plus sign. The shorter metal prong goes to the negative side. So I'm going to put that on. I'm just going to use a little bit of this copper tape to stick it down. So I peel off a little piece here, stick it on, and a little piece here, stick it on. If you're worried about wasting copper tape, technically speaking, you don't have to use copper tape to stick it down. You could use just regular masking tape or electrical tape or scotch tape, anything to stick it on, because the electricity will flow through that bottom line. But I like to use another piece of copper tape on there just because I think it looks a little bit neater. I am going to test this out, so I put the negative side of my battery onto the negative line and fold this over, and it lights up. Perfect. Now, since I've got parallel circuits, I can put on multiple lights if I want to make it brighter. I just have to make sure that I'm always getting the longer metal prong touching the positive line. And now, when I fold this over, all of the lights go on. I can embed this into my paper lantern in lots of different ways. One way would be I could fold it over like this, so the end hangs off, and I can just put glue on the back of here and stick it down. Another possibility would be I could have it hang from the handle. I could put it at the bottom and let it light up from the bottom. In this case, what I'm going to do is put glue on the back of it. And I'm going to glue it just to the side, like this. I am going to leave this little triangle loose. It's not glued down because this is where I am going to put in the battery, and that needs to be able to move to open and close my circuit to make it light up or go off.